chosen ones, have you noticed how some truths refuse to reveal themselves until you become strong enough to carry them? There is a reason for that. There are things you once begged to understand that, if they had been revealed too early, would have crushed your confidence instead of building it. But now something has changed. You have survived disappointments that should have broken you. You have walked through seasons where nobody understood your silence, your struggles, or the invisible battles you fought behind closed doors. You wondered why your path looked so different from everyone else's. You questioned why opportunities disappeared just when they seemed within reach. You asked why people walked away without explanation. You searched for answers in moments that only gave you more questions. Yet, despite everything, you are still here. That is not luck. That is not coincidence. And it is not because life simply happened to spare you. It is because God has been protecting something inside you that the world could never understand. So today, it is time to tell you everything, not everything about the future, because even now your story is still unfolding. But everything you needed to know to stop doubting yourself. Everything that finally makes the pain make sense. Everything that explains why you have always felt different. Because you were never created to fit comfortably inside ordinary expectations. You were designed to carry a purpose that requires uncommon preparation. Most people mistake isolation for rejection. They mistake delays for failure. They mistake unanswered questions for abandonment. But your life has been speaking a different language. All along, every setback has been shaping a foundation that could not be built any other way. Every closed door forced you away from distractions that would have stolen your destiny. Every disappointment redirected your attention from temporary comfort toward permanent transformation. There were moments when you thought you were being forgotten, but heaven was simply refusing to rush what required perfect timing. Think about every chapter that almost convinced you to quit. Think about every season where you believed nothing was changing. Look closely now. Those moments were never empty. They were classrooms. They were training grounds. While everyone else was chasing recognition, you were learning endurance. While others celebrated instant success, you were developing wisdom. While people underestimated you because they could not see immediate results, God was building invisible strength that no applause could ever create. You kept asking for signs, never realizing that your survival itself was already the greatest sign. You kept looking for proof outside yourself while ignoring the quiet miracle happening within you. Every time you refused to become bitter, you grew stronger. Every time you chose hope instead of surrender, you became more prepared. Every time life knocked you down and you stood up again, your purpose became clearer, even if you could not yet recognize it. That is why you have never truly belonged to the places where everyone else felt comfortable. Your spirit has always been reaching towards something greater. You have felt it in moments you could never explain. You have sensed it during ordinary days when an unexpected peace settled over your heart. You have felt an invisible pull toward becoming someone your current circumstances could not yet reflect. That feeling was never your imagination. It was the quiet voice of destiny reminding you that your present reality is not your final identity. People have misunderstood your journey because they only judged the chapter they could see. They did not witness the conversations you had with yourself when fear tried to convince you that you were finished. They never saw the nights when you questioned your worth. They never saw how many times you rebuilt your faith after disappointment. They only noticed your silence, never realizing that silence was becoming strength. And perhaps the hardest truth to accept is this: not everyone who leaves your life is taking something from you. Sometimes they are making room for what belongs to you. Sometimes the relationships that ended were protecting your future. Sometimes the opportunities you lost were too small for the destiny waiting ahead. Sometimes the life you wanted had to disappear because it was standing in the way of the life you were created to live. That is difficult to accept while you are grieving. But one day you will look back and thank God for every door that remained closed, every plan that failed, and every person who walked away. Because without those endings, you never would have reached your true beginning. There is something else you deserve to know. And perhaps this is the truth that will change the way you see your entire life. The greatest battle you have ever fought was never against other people. It was never against circumstances, money, rejection, or bad luck. The greatest battle has always been against the version of yourself that believed you were ordinary, that quiet voice telling you to settle, to shrink your dreams, to stop expecting more from life. That has been the real obstacle standing in your path. The world has the way of convincing people that they should only believe what they can immediately see. But God often works in ways that cannot be measured until much later. Before a mountain can be moved, faith is strengthened in silence. Before a breakthrough appears, character is refined in hidden places. Before a chosen person steps into influence, they learn how to stand alone without losing hope. And that is exactly what has been happening to you. Every season that felt empty was actually full of preparation. Every delay that frustrated you was quietly building the patience, wisdom, and emotional strength your future demands. If everything had happened when you first wanted it, you might have reached your destination without becoming the person capable of staying there. God was never withholding your blessing. He was expanding your capacity to carry it. That is why your path has looked so unusual compared to others. You have spent too much time comparing your behind-the-scenes preparation to someone else's public success. But comparison has hidden the truth from you. The assignment on your life has never been average, so your preparation could never be average either. While others measured progress by applause, promotions, or popularity, your greatest victories were happening where nobody could see them. Every temptation you resisted strengthened your discipline. Every lonely season taught you self-respect. Every betrayal sharpened your discernment. Every failure removed another layer of pride. Every unexpected detour developed resilience that no classroom could ever teach. You thought you were losing years, but God was building decades of wisdom inside experiences that only lasted months. Nothing has been wasted, not your tears, not your questions, not your waiting. Even the mistakes you regret have become lessons that now protect your future. That is how powerful purpose is. It has the ability to transform pain into preparation and disappointment into direction. There were times when you wondered why certain people seemed uncomfortable around you, even before they truly knew you. You questioned why some relationships felt strangely temporary, why conversations sometimes ended awkwardly, or why you often felt like an outsider even in familiar places. Here is something most people never realize. When someone carries a deep purpose, they naturally challenge the comfort zones of others without even trying. Your determination reminds some people of the dreams they abandoned. Your peace exposes the chaos others refuse to confront. Your integrity makes compromise look obvious. Your quiet confidence unsettles those who rely on approval for their identity. This does not mean you are better than anyone. It means your life carries a different assignment. You were never meant to become everyone's favorite person. You were meant to become the person God designed you to be. And sometimes that journey requires walking roads where very few people understand you. Do not mistake misunderstanding for failure. History has always shown that those called to create meaningful change are often misunderstood long before they are appreciated. Now, listen carefully, because this may be the sentence your heart has been waiting to hear. Stop apologizing for becoming stronger. Stop feeling guilty because you no longer fit inside environments that once defined you. Growth always creates distance between who you were and who you are becoming. The people who truly belong in your future will celebrate your transformation instead of fearing it. They will not ask you to think smaller, dream smaller, or become less so they can feel more comfortable. God never intended your light to be dimmed just to make darkness feel accepted. The purpose inside you deserves room to breathe, to expand, and to reach people you have not even met yet. Somewhere, someone is waiting for the wisdom your struggles have produced. Someone else is waiting for the hope that only your story can awaken. The breakthrough you have been praying for is not only about changing your own life. It is also about preparing you to become an answer to someone else's prayer. So let today become the dividing line between the old version of yourself and the one that finally understands. You are not waiting for permission anymore. You are not waiting for perfect conditions. You are not waiting until fear disappears, because courage was never the absence of fear. It was the decision to move forward despite it. From this moment on, stop interpreting every challenge as a sign to retreat. Begin seeing resistance as confirmation that your growth is demanding more from you. Every sunrise is another reminder that God has not finished writing your story. Every breath you take is evidence that your assignment is still alive. Every obstacle you overcome becomes another testimony that prepares you for the doors now beginning to open. You have spent enough time questioning whether you were chosen. The evidence has been surrounding you all along. You survived what should have destroyed you. You learned what could not be taught in comfort. You became stronger without losing compassion. And now, as one season quietly comes to an end, another is already unfolding before you. The next chapter will not simply reveal new opportunities. It will reveal the person you were always becoming. And when that day arrives, you will finally understand why God allowed every twist, every delay, every hidden season, and every unanswered question. Because none of it was punishment. It was preparation for a destiny that was always greater than you imagined. But before the next chapter begins, there is one final truth that must be revealed. Because everything depends on whether you understand this now or years from now. The life you are about to step into cannot be entered by carrying the weight of the person you used to be. This is why so much has been changing around you. It is not only your circumstances that are shifting, it is your identity. God is not simply opening new doors. He is creating a new mindset capable of walking through them. That is why old habits have started to feel uncomfortable. Conversations that once entertained you now leave you empty. Places where you once felt at home now seem strangely unfamiliar. Even your dreams have changed. You are no longer satisfied with temporary victories, because something much deeper is calling your name. This transformation can feel lonely because very few people recognize it while it is happening. They only notice the outcome long after the process is complete. They will call you fortunate when they never witnessed the discipline. They will admire your confidence without knowing how many nights you wrestled with fear. They will celebrate your success without understanding how often you almost gave up. Let them believe whatever they want. God has never measured your journey by public opinion. The only approval that truly matters is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you refused to abandon the purpose placed inside you. There is another secret about chosen people that almost nobody talks about. They often mistake peace for weakness because the world glorifies constant noise, competition, and endless proving. But real strength rarely announces itself. It is calm when others panic. It listens when others shout. It waits when others rush. You have spent enough years believing you had to convince everyone of your value. You do not. A tree never argues about its ability to bear fruit. It simply grows until the evidence becomes impossible to ignore. That is exactly how your purpose will unfold. Stop chasing validation from people who were never assigned to understand your journey. Some individuals only recognize value after they lose access to it. Others will not appreciate your presence until your absence teaches them what you truly carried. Do not build your identity around opinions that change with circumstances. Build it around the quiet certainty that God never creates a life without meaning. Every gift inside you was placed there intentionally. Every lesson you learned through hardship became another tool for the future. Every scar became proof that healing is possible. The very experiences you once wished had never happened are becoming the foundation of the wisdom that will guide countless others. Nothing has been random. Nothing has been forgotten. Even the chapters that made no sense at the time are now connecting into a story more beautiful than you could have written for yourself. And perhaps this is the hardest truth to accept. Your breakthrough will not always arrive looking the way you imagined. Sometimes it comes disguised as an ending. Sometimes it appears as a difficult decision that requires courage instead of comfort. Sometimes it begins with losing something you desperately wanted to keep. But if God removes something from your hands, it is because He refuses to let you settle for less than what aligns with your purpose. Trust that. There are blessings you have not yet imagined because your current perspective is too small to contain them. There are relationships that will honor your growth instead of competing with it. There are opportunities that will recognize your character before your accomplishments. There are moments waiting for you that will make every painful season worthwhile. One day you will stand in a place where the confusion of today becomes the gratitude of tomorrow. You will look back at every unanswered prayer and realize that many of them were actually acts of protection. You will thank God for the delays that developed your patience, for the silence that sharpened your wisdom, and for the closed doors that redirected your path towards something infinitely better than what you originally wanted. So, hear this with every part of your heart, because this is what it has all been leading to. Stop living as if your best days belong to the past. They do not. Stop speaking to yourself as though your story has already reached its highest point. It has not. Stop allowing fear to narrate a future that God has never written for you. The next season of your life demands expectation instead of hesitation. Walk with humility, but never with doubt about your worth. Stand with confidence, but never with pride. Keep your heart open, your spirit teachable, and your vision fixed on the purpose that has been calling you all along. Every morning is another invitation to become more of the person you were created to be. Every challenge is another opportunity to reveal the strength that has been growing inside you. Every step forward is evidence that you are no longer the person who once questioned whether you could survive. You already survived. Now it is time to build. It is time to rise. It is time to lead by the example of your character rather than the volume of your words. And when people ask what changed, you will not need to convince them with long explanations. Your peace will answer, your resilience will answer, your wisdom will answer. Your life itself will become the answer. Remember this whenever uncertainty tries to return. You were never chosen because you were perfect. You were chosen because you were willing to keep moving when giving up seemed easier. You were chosen because every hardship shaped compassion instead of bitterness. You were chosen because every delay deepened your patience instead of destroying your hope. And now the time for hiding is ending. The preparation is becoming purpose. The waiting is becoming movement. The struggle is becoming strength. The vision is becoming reality. Walk forward without looking back at the version of yourself that believed you were too small, too late, or too broken. That chapter has finished. The truth has finally been revealed. God has been writing a masterpiece through every victory, every setback, every tear, and every triumph. And from this day forward, you will no longer ask, "Why did this happen to me?" Instead, you will ask, "How can I honor the purpose God has entrusted to me?" Because that question changes everything. And once you begin living from that place, nothing, not fear, not failure, not rejection, and not delay, will be powerful enough to stop the destiny that has been waiting for you all along. The day will come when you stop searching for proof that God is with you, because your own life will become the proof. You will look back over every season that once filled you with confusion and realize that nothing was meaningless. Every delay was adding depth to your character. Every disappointment was protecting your direction. Every lonely night was strengthening a spirit that could not be built in comfort. The pieces that once seemed scattered will fit together with such precision that you will wonder how you ever believed your story was falling apart. What felt like the end was often the beginning. What looked like silence was preparation. What appeared to be loss was actually redirection towards something far greater than you could see. So stop measuring your future by your present circumstances. You are standing at the edge of a chapter that cannot be entered with yesterday's fears. The person who doubted every step cannot walk confidently into the life that God has prepared. Leave behind the need for constant reassurance. Leave behind the habit of comparing your journey with someone else's. Leave behind the belief that your value depends on recognition from people who never understood your assignment. Your identity was never meant to be built on applause. It was meant to be anchored in purpose. From this moment forward, choose courage over comfort. Choose faith over fear. Choose discipline over distraction. Every decision you make today is shaping the person you will become tomorrow. Do not wait for the perfect moment, because purpose rarely arrives wrapped in perfect conditions. It arrives disguised as ordinary opportunities that require extraordinary trust. Walk through every door with humility, but never shrink from the calling placed upon your life. Stand firm when uncertainty whispers that you are not enough. You have already overcome battles that once seemed impossible. The same strength that carried you through those seasons will carry you into the next. And when the world tells you to lower your expectations, remember this: God did not preserve you simply to survive. He preserved you so you could become a light in places overshadowed by doubt, a source of hope where others have surrendered, and living evidence that perseverance always has a purpose. Your story is not ending, it is unfolding. Your greatest victories are not behind you, they are waiting ahead. Your most meaningful impact has not already happened. It is only beginning. So lift your head, steady your heart. Silence the voice that says you have missed your chance. You have not missed it. You have been prepared for it. One day, people will look at your life and see the success, the peace, the wisdom, and the quiet confidence you carry. They will think it happened overnight, but you will know the truth. You will remember every unseen battle, every unanswered question, every tear no one noticed, every moment you chose to keep moving when quitting would have been easier. You will remember that God was working long before anyone else could see it. This is not the end of your story. This is the moment everything begins to make sense. This is the moment you stop merely existing and start living with intention. This is the moment you stop waiting for permission and start walking in purpose. And if there is one truth you carry with you after today, let it be this. You were never forgotten. You were never abandoned. You were never overlooked. God has seen every step, counted every tear, heard every silent prayer, and honored every act of perseverance. Now the season of preparation is giving way to the season of revelation. Walk forward without fear. Walk forward without regret. Walk forward knowing that the purpose placed within you is greater than any obstacle standing before you, because the truth has finally been told, and the rest of your life will be your answer.